Friends, there is only one news that is in discussion today around the world except for COVID-19, and that is the Israeli aggression on Palestine. Videos coming from that part of the world will make any stony-hearted melt and break down into tears. And India, in spite of battling COVID-19, is speaking about this incident. Many of you might have heard about the raids by Israeli police on Masjid Al Aqsa. You might also have heard about the missiles launched from Gaza by Hamas in retaliation, and probably some of you might have heard about the Iron Dome of Israel. There are chances that you might not have heard about the Israeli settlements which are at the center of these attacks, and you might not even have heard about Hamas or PLO. And there are even chances that you might have considered this an exclusively religious issue, which it is not, even though religion plays a major role. Along with this, you can find many opinions that are floating around. Some say #India stands with Israel, whereas some others say stop Israeli terrorism and India stands with Palestine. My name is Nihal Mohammed and you're watching The Upfront. Israel government has illegally asked the Palestinian families in the Sheikh Jarrah colony in the West Bank to evict from their houses. Israel has been using this tactic to increase Jewish settlements in the West Bank continuously. Palestinian homes are either brought or most of the times are forced to evict and given to Israeli settlements. The same happened this time around also. In addition to which, inflammatory speeches were delivered by some Israeli ministers which escalated the tension, giving rise to a war-like situation. Hamas has sent more than 1,000 missiles in retaliation, which the Iron Dome of Israel has been defending. Gaza today has turned into a city of devastated buildings. It is said that smaller dead bodies are the heaviest. That is the situation in Gaza today. Gaza is today crying due to the colonial attitude of the British Empire. Even the attacks carried out by Hamas have killed children. Any murder is an offense against humanity. It is as if you have killed the entire mankind. Media is reporting this as a conflict today. But you need to know that Israel is one of the strongest armies in the world with the most developed weapons, and on the other side is a group of people who have grown in resistance and resist the occupancy with stones and missiles made with PVC pipes filled with ammonium nitrate. How can they be compared? How can there be a conflict in between them? What is happening in Palestine is resistance against the occupying forces of Israel. This is no conflict. This is a racial genocide. The final few days of the holy month of Ramadan drowned in the tears and blood of Palestinians. An American politician from Minnesota, Ilhan Omar, tweets, "This is happening as Muslims pray Taraweeh and Tahajjud in Palestine. Families who pray all night during Ramadan, the mosque is like home. Palestinians deserve to find refuge in a mosque and peace in Ramadan. Where is the media coverage?" Israel government may not have expected such resistance from Hamas, but brave-hearted resistance was shown by Hamas against the occupying forces. Some of Hamas missiles broke the Iron Dome of Israel, which might have put Israel into surprise. Benjamin Netanyahu is on the verge of losing power. A fear of ending political career and many cases which could lead him to jail life has made Netanyahu try to revive his political career with the blood of Palestinians. Israel is also on the verge of a civil war. Israeli citizens, who comprise a total of 20% Arabs, are on streets in cities of Lod and Jaffa. An excerpt from an opinion article by Peter Bennett, himself a Jew, "Palestinians deserve to return to," in the New York Times on 14th May, reads like this: "Jews have passed down their identity as refugees for 2000 years. In our holidays and liturgy, we continually mourn our expulsion and express our yearning for return. After being forcibly exiled from their land," proclaims Israel Declaration of Independence. The people kept faith with it throughout their dispersion. If keeping faith that exile can be overcome is sacred to Jews, how can we condemn Palestinians for doing the same thing? In addition to telling Palestinians they cannot go home because they have been away too long, Jewish leaders argue that the return is impractical. But this too is deeply ironic because, as a refugee rights advocate Lubna Shomali has pointed out, if any state is an expert in receiving masses and masses of people and settling them in a very small territory, it's Israel. There is no terrorism in what Hamas is doing. Where should the people who are made to run from their own There is no terrorism in what Hamas is doing. Where should the people who are made to run from their own homeland go? No mother in Palestine sleeps peacefully. A home will no longer be home in a single minute in Palestine. Palestine's struggle is the struggle to survive of those who are persecuted in their own homeland. This is no terrorism. This is only an attempt of survival. Don't you think when missiles and bullets are continuously fired on them in their own homeland, anyone would retaliate at least with a stone? The silence of the international community on this stand posed by an apartheid government is a shame. We must condemn the storming of Al Aqsa Mosque by Israeli police and describe the act as a grave provocation that must be addressed immediately by the international community. We need to condemn the unprovoked storming of the first Qibla of Muslims, the holy mosque of Al Aqsa, by Israeli police. This condemnable act is especially despicable as it had occurred in the last days of Ramadan, and it is directed at hurting the religious sentiments of the Muslims all over the world who hold the Al Aqsa Mosque in great reverence and esteem. We demand the international community, including the United Nations, to immediately address this incident and warn the Israeli government to desist from such acts and issue an official apology for the same. We also urge the government of India to condemn the incident and summon the Israeli ambassador and issue a statement in this regard. Now, to those Indian nationalists who are trending #India stands with Israel, you are unaware of history. Even though both countries were created a year apart, India wasn't exactly amenable to the creation of Israel. The reason being very obvious that the wounds of partition that India had to bear were still fresh. India knew the pain more than anyone else. India knew the pain of a land being broken into two, and India did not want another piece of land to go through the same pain. Mahatma Gandhi, who virulently opposed partitioning British India on religious lines, couldn't condone partitioning British Palestine along religious lines. While Gandhi, a purveyor of peace and non-violence, was sympathetic to the displaced Jewish diaspora reeling from the atrocities of the Holocaust, he firmly believed that they should return to their countries of origin. In November 1938, Gandhi wrote, "Palestine belongs to the Arabs in the same sense that England belongs to the English and France to the French." So much so that India voted against the partition of British Mandate Palestine in 1947 and even voted against Israel's admission to the United Nations in 1949. But yeah, I'm sure you wouldn't listen to me. So please listen to these words of Shri Atal Bihari Vajpayee, whom I am sure you revere and respect.
अरबों की जिस जमीन पर इजराइल कब्जा करके बैठा है, वो जमीन उसको खाली करना होगी। आक्रमणकारी आक्रमण के फलों का उपभोग करे, ये हमें अपने संबंध में स्वीकार नहीं है। तो जो नियम हम पर लागू है वो औरों पर भी लागू होगा। अरबों की जमीन खाली होना चाहिए। जो फिलिस्तीन है उनके जो फिलिस्तीनी हैं।
That's it for today. With a simple message, read history. Stop supporting the oppressor and stand with the oppressed. And to those who are silent, it is said that the one who does not oppose the oppressor stands with the oppressor. If you like this video, please share it, and for more such videos, subscribe to the Upfront and press the bell icon to get notifications of all our updates. Thank you.